Imagine a different version of Cinderella. No, not that one. This one is very different. That predates the Disney classic and emerged from the rich tapestry of Kurdish culture. This enchanting tale, steeped in history, hails from the courts of Kurdistan. Let's start our story and let it to take us back into maybe thousands of years ago. Once upon a time, or as we Kurdish say, happy to nabi, there was a small happy family, a dad, a mom, and their little daughter named Pertaqaluk. That means little orange. Pertaqaluk was living her happy life with her parents at her beautiful house. Out of a bad luck, her mom got very sick and not much time passed. She couldn't make it and sadly passed away. Her dad, to see her daughter, was very heartbroken and sad, so he made a decision to do what is the best for her daughter. In that time also there was a woman who recently has lost her husband and had a little daughter as the same age as Pertaqaluk, that her name was Henaruk. Henaruk means little pomegranate. So he went forward and asked the woman to marry him. In that way they both can have a family, mom and dad, and they can live a happy life together. Henaruk's mom accepted the marriage proposal and they got married. They came to Pertaqaluk and her dad's house. Pertaqaluk's stepmom showed her real face, that she does not like her at all and is not kind to her. The two girls had daily chores that it was each girl's turn to every day take the goats, the sheep, and the one cow that was left from Pertaqaluk's mom to take them to the nature and stayed with them until afternoon. When it was Pertaqaluk's turn, her stepmom would put no food or little, and that was only one onion and a piece of bread for her, gave her a big bowl of wool, asking her to work on that, and she wasn't allowed to come back home until she gathered enough firewood for the day as well. But when it was her daughter's turn, she was very kind, putting all kind of good and enough food for her, gave her just a small bowl of wool to just make her busy. She was so easy on her own daughter. But that cow that we mentioned, who was belonged to Pertaqaluk's mom, was very protective of Pertaqaluk. In fact, each time that it was Pertaqaluk's turn, the cow would do all the work, going after the goats and sheep, taking care of them, and all that Pertaqaluk needed to do to sit down, enjoy the day, and work on the bowl of wool. And on the way back, the cow would show her where are the firewood that she can gather them all easy peasy. But when it was Henaruk's turn, the cow would become wild, going after the goats, and sheep wouldn't let Henaruk sit down for a second. Times passed by. The stepmom realizes that Pertaqaluk, despite all that little food and hard work she gave into her, getting prettier and prettier. But her daughter, despite all the healthy food and easy life she is making it ready for her, getting skinnier and skinnier. She is wonder. One night, when she makes sure that Pertaqaluk is asleep, she goes to her daughter and tell her, what is going on. Then Hanaruk starts talking and tell her mom, oh mama, you don't know what is going on. I'm taking the goats and the sheep to the nature. The cow doesn't let me to rest 1 second. She goes out to the goats, she goes after the sheep, she being naughty, going around. I have to run after her. Sometimes I don't even have time to eat, and I eat just a little on my way home. Stepmom, who hears her daughter saying that, she says, ah, I see, so that is why. Then she tells her daughter, don't worry, leave it to me. I promise you we will get rid of that cow soon. Then she kisses her daughter and she leaves. On a way, that Pertaqaluk is awake and hearing everything. Next day, when it was Pertaqaluk's turn, she walks with the cow. Suddenly, she puts her hand around the cow's neck and kisses her. Then she cries and tells her, please do not bother Hanaruk. Last night, I heard that my stepmom was telling her daughter that she will get rid of you. What if she kills you? In this world, you are the only one that I have left. If I lose you, I'll get alone again. Pertaqaluk, startled, hearing the cow, started to talk. She backed off and strangely looking at the cow who is talking in front of her. The cow says, don't worry, Pertaqaluk. I promise you, even if she kills me, it will be good for you. And I will not stop until she stopped being mean to you and be kind to you just like she is kind to her daughter. And I know she will never do that, so I will bother her daughter just the way that she bothers you. I am your mom's cow, and I will do what I think she would do for you. And with that, she told Pertaqaluk, now let's walk and you listen to everything I say. I know she had a plan to get rid of me a while ago, and she will do one day soon. So you give me all your attention to what I say, and you do exactly the same as I say. Pertaqaluk is listening carefully. The cow says any day soon she will make a plan and she will come up with something to kill me. And if they kill me, I will make my meat very bitter and untasty for her and her daughter and your dad, so they don't eat anything out of it, but you can eat and enjoy it. After that, whatever left, you go and give it all to the neighbors, telling them, this is for my mom. You can eat, but please return me all the bones. And then you take my bones, you go to the shed and put all my bones under the hay and cover it with the hay. Then you leave it for quite long time. Then you return back to them and see what they have become for you. Then you keep it from your stepmom and use it as you think it's the time. Pertaqaluk, hearing word by word what the cow says, and then she goes on her way. A few days passed by. Stepmother telling Pertaqaluk that, what kind of man are you? Aren't you ashamed of yourself? Pertaqaluk's dad says, why? What is going on? She says, your wife, she passed away. She was a good wife to you, the mother of your child. You haven't done any sacrifice for her. How can you sleep at night? And she started talking and talking. Then Pertaqaluk's dad says, oh, you're right, woman. I should have done something for her. Okay, tomorrow we're gonna get a goat or a sheep we sacrifice for her soul. Then stepmom says, why a goat or a sheep? You greedy man. Why you're not sacrificing her cow? That's hers, belong to her, and it will be more good for her soul. Pertaqaluk's dad thinking and says, you're actually right. Okay, we will do as you say. So the next day, they bringing the cow, make a sacrifice for Pertaqaluk's mom's soul. Stepmom start chopping the meat and cooking them. The second they put the meat in their mouths, it becomes so bitter and disgusting that they couldn't keep it in their mouth, so they spit out. Then stepmom look at Pertaqaluk and says how enjoyable she is eating her food. Then she says, look at that stupid girl, she doesn't even know what the food tastes like. How can you eat that? Pertaqaluk says, that's none of your business. If you don't want to eat it, give it to me. I'm gonna go pass it to the neighbors, so it will be good for my mom's soul. Stepmom, who couldn't eat, didn't care as much and told the girl, go, take it. I don't want any of this in my house. Pertaqaluk used her chance and take the food to neighbors and ask them, please keep the bones for me. I'll come back and collect them. The neighbors thanking her and prayed for her mom's soul and keep the bones, waiting for her to come. She take all the bones together, hide them in a hay, and let it while to pass. And days passes. Pertaqaluk was very upset and alone. One day she said, let me go and check, see what happened to those bones. She goes to the shed, pull all the haze away to get to the bones. She took out the cover that she was hiding the bones under. She is shocked seeing all the bones had turned into beautiful golden jewelries. Rings, earrings, necklaces, tiaras, bracelets are laying there in front of her. Suddenly, the sparkle of the most beautiful shoes that she had ever seen grabs her attention among all those beautiful stuff that she is now how in her hands. She pick up the shoes and look at them carefully, how shiny and sparkling they are. She says to herself, let me try these beautiful shoes. It's like that they made for her. She is looking at them, start walking around and enjoying those shoes. After a while, she hid all of them again, making sure that her stepmom wouldn't find them. That day was her turn to take the goats and sheep to the nature. This time it's late. She is looking everywhere, can't find enough firewood for the house. So she is tired and desperately looking around. She goes in a path that she has never gone before. After a short time of looking for firewood, she hears a sound of crying and weeping. She follows the sound, finding herself in front of a very strange old lady sitting in front of a big cave next to a spring. The more she goes forward, the clearer she sees the old lady. So she goes forward and says, hello mother, why are you crying? The old lady look up at Pertaqaluk and says, oh my daughter, don't you see my situation? I am so tired, I am hungry, I'm dirty and smelly, my arms hurt so much, I can't comb my hair. I don't know, my daughter. Pertaqaluk, seeing her crying like that, she felt so bad, and then she went close. She said, don't worry mother, I'm here, I'll help you out. She helped the old lady to sit in a clean place, and then she says, you are hungry, so let's eat first. She goes and grab her food and put in front of the old lady, which was only one onion and a piece of bread. She put it in front of her and sitting down with her, make her some bites and gave it to her while she herself eating as well. Then she looked at the cave, she looked at the messy house, the bed, dirty pot and everything there is messy. Then she looked at the old lady and says, mother, do you live here alone? Is this cave is your house? The old lady shook her head with tears, says, yes, my daughter, now that I am old, all my family is gone, I can't take care of myself. Pertaqaluk sensed the strong smell while seeing the old lady smelling herself and feels bad. Then she says, do you want me to help you out to take a bath? Oh, my daughter, if only you could do that. Pertaqaluk leave everything there. She goes to the cave, grab the pot. It was big enough. She comes to the spring, fill it up with water. With that amount of firewood that she had gathered, she makes a fire and put the pot on to warm up the water. Then she tells the old lady, you sit here and finish your food, let me clean up your cave. She goes to the cave, tidy up her bed, dusting up everywhere and sweeping all around the cave, get perfectly clean. Then she goes to the old lady, help her to take off her clothes and start washing her head and combing all her white hair. After the old lady is cleaned and tidy, she felt so sleepy. She looked at the Pertqaluk. Thank you, my daughter. Pertqaluk packing up her stuff and tell the old lady, don't worry, from now on I'll come and check on you. Old lady looking at the girl and the spring, and then again and again she holds Pertqaluk's hand. Pertqaluk strangely looked at her, then said, I have to go now. My stepmom will get mad if I go late. Also, I haven't picked up any firewood yet. Then she gets ready to leave. The old lady grabs her hand and says, before you leave, you do as I say. Pertqaluk says, what do you want me to do? She says, jump in this spring water and wash yourself with the water. Come out clean. Pertqaluk says, but I don't want to do that. I'm late. Old lady says, you do as you think will come up for you, my daughter. Pertqaluk started taking off her clothes and jumped in the water. Then she came out. She was surprised seeing her skin, her hair, everything about her was beautiful and shiny, and it was something mesmerizing. She touched her hair, soft, silky, with a good smell. Then wide-eyed, she looked at the lady and said, what happened to me? What the water did to me? The old lady says, nothing. It's just showed your true face, my daughter. Now get ready and be on your way home before it gets dark. She says goodbye to the old lady and happily walks all the way home while looking at herself, smelling the beautiful smell. When she gets close to the yard, her stepmom, seeing her wide-eyed, she walks toward her and tells her, what happened to you? Who has done this to you? Have you done magic? You look so beautiful. Pertqaluk says, oh mother, if I tell you, you wouldn't believe me that what had happened today. Her stepmom, who wants to find out the secret and how Pertqaluk became so beautiful, suddenly she becomes so generous and kind, hold her hand and says, oh my beautiful daughter, I can't believe you. You are my sweetheart. Come, let's go have a seat. And then asks her daughter Hanuruk, go grab some food for her. She is tired and hungry. And then she puts a very nice and yummy food in front of her and then tell her, my sweet daughter, now whatever happened to you, tell me all about it. Cannot wait to hear. Pertqaluk tells everything, and then her stepmom says, okay, now you're tired, go have a rest. Then the next day she wakes her daughter up and tell her, hey girl, don't be stupid and listen to exactly what I tell you. I put very yummy food for you in this bag. You go where that Pertqaluk went yesterday, and then you do as she said. No matter whatever is going on, whatever Pertqaluk has done and told us yesterday, you do the exact, and then you tell that old lady to make you even prettier. Then Hanuruk says, don't worry mom, I'm way smarter than Pertqaluk. I'll come back even prettier than her. Then she is on her way to find the old lady. She finally finds the place By hearing the weeping and crying sound, she knows that she has found the old lady. Then she walks forward, seeing a very dirty, sad old lady sitting next to a big cave beside a spring. Then she tells herself, oh my god, didn't Pertqaluk wash her head yesterday? Why she is all dirty again? I can smell her from here. Then she walks toward the old lady and tell, hello old lady, why are you crying? How can I help you? The old lady says the same thing. Oh my daughter, you don't see my situation, how dirty I am hungry, I can do nothing, and go on and on. Henaruk says, don't cry now, I've got some food, I'll bring it for you, and then we'll see what will happen. Then she goes and bring all the tasty food that her mom made her. She put it in front of the old lady and tell her, come, eat your food and see the food that I brought. It's tastier than the one that my sister brought yesterday. So you have to make me more pretty than her. The old lady, while eating food, looking up at her, then shook her head and kept eating. Tells Henaruk, why don't you sit down, my daughter? Sit and have a bite with me. I don't like eating alone. Henaruk sitting down, but because of the old lady's smell, she couldn't eat. So she said, no, you eat, I don't want to eat that. And then after the old lady finished, Henaruk says, now you make me pretty too. The old lady looked at her and then says, can you help me out so I can take a bath? I am so dirty and I can't do it myself. At her and says, there is a spring water, you go in there and I'll just pour water over your head, you wash yourself, I can't do it. The old lady looking at her, shaking her head and didn't say anything. Then she thanked her for the food and started walking away. Henaruk went and stopped her and said, you can't go, you have to make me pretty as well. You ate the food, you have to give something back. Old lady told her, my daughter, is not how it works. Please let me go and you go on your way. Henaruk says, no, you have to tell me what you have done to Pertqaluk. I will not let you go. Old lady shook her head and says, I asked her to jump into that spring water and your true self will show up. That spring water will wash your body and your true self will come up. Henaruk didn't even let the old lady finish, took off her clothes and jumped in the water. After a while, when she came up, she smelled a horrible smell, and then her hands, her eyes, her hands, her leg, which part of her body that she could see with her own eyes was very dark, smelly and ugly. She started crying, bashing on her head, asking the old lady, what have you done to me? Why I am like this? Old lady again shook her head and said, I told you, my daughter, this is not for you. This water will show your true face, so you shouldn't have jumped in. Then she walks away and disappears. Henaruk, after a good cry in the spring, stood up, wore her clothes and cried all the way home. In the yard, the second that her mom saw her in the yard, she was terrified, started bashing on her head and says, what happened to you? What have you done? Didn't I tell you to be careful and do as I say? Then Henaruk told her mom, I did the same, I gave her the food and everything. The old lady turned me into this situation. When Henaruk told everything to her mom, she realized what was the problem and what had happened. So she started washing her daughter over and over and over again with tearful eyes until she get rid of the smell a little bit. Then she covered all the ugly part, the makeup. She tried to cover as much as she could. Days passed, and after that, stepmom was way worse than before with Pertqaluk. She was more jealous, more angry, and gave her a harder life. Pertqaluk, who was left alone to start talking and befriending with farm animal, the goats, the sheep, the rooster, the chicken. She was talking to them daily, even though they wouldn't talk to her, but she kept talking and being kind to them and made herself busy and doing her daily chores, did not care for whatever stepmom does, because she had tons of beautiful jewelries, clothes and shoes, and she was very pretty. Whoever looked at her was amazed by her pretty face and kind heart. So she had it all, and she was thankful for everything that she had and didn't let the stepmom's behavior hurt her as much. One day, a big invitation came to the old villagers that announced there is a big for all the village around to come to his castle and enjoy the celebration. Everyone was very happy, start making themselves ready for the big day to come, as well as Pertqaluk. She has everything she needed, so she was very exciting for the day to come. Her stepmom start from that day until the day of the party, start cleaning up her Henaruk, taking her to the bath every day, wearing her all kind of beautiful clothes and jewelry so she can hide all the ugliness that she had on her face. When the day came, Pertqaluk's father announced to the family that we need to get ready by this time, so we will be there on time. Then the stepmom rise and said, why Pertqaluk needs to come? We need someone to stay at home and take care of the animals. She can't go. If she go, I won't come. Either me and Henaruk will go or she will go. Her father, who didn't want any more headache, he asked her daughter to calm down and stay at home, and then the three of them left the house. Pertqaluk, who accepted to stay home, waited for them to be far enough. Then she ran to the shed, started wearing her clothes, beautiful jewelries, and she wore those spectacular shoes that she couldn't get enough look at them. Then she started running through another village's way so she won't come across her family. As fast as she could run, she got there sooner than her family, so she was waiting for them to see where they gonna sit or where they gonna go. After she find out that where her family are, she went to the other side of the party so she can enjoy being her people, the dancing, the storytelling, the feast and everything. After a while, as she was enjoying her time, Henaruk, who started walking among the party to see people, as her mom suggested, to find a good man for her life. Then she come across Pertqaluk that's sitting, and all the people are surrounding her, and she's talking, telling stories and laughing, and people are adoring her. She runs back to her mom and tell her. Her mom runs after her to see if that is Pertqaluk. When her mom goes closer, Pertqaluk looking the other side, talking to the other people. The second that stepmom sees her clothes, her jewelry and shoes, she turns back to her daughter and says, you lost your beauty. Have you lost your mind too? No, Pertqaluk, not her entire family can afford those clothes or jewelries. And then she smashed her daughter, or as we Kurdish say, chapalukak, and then she chapalukak was chapalukak. She hits her daughter like this on her head and says, walk, let's go back to where we were. Henaruk, who saw her mom is very angry, she didn't say no more and she walked back. Pertqaluk enjoyed her party as much as she wanted. Then she realized it's getting late and she must be at home before her parents go back, so she leaves the party and she started walking away. In that moment, the chief's son, who was tired of that big party to be at the peaceful place, he left the party as well and started walking and pacing around away from the party. Then he hears someone is walking toward, so he hides. Then he sees a beautiful girl start running away from the party. When Pertqaluk passing by him and running, he start calling her, "Hey you girl, wait, where are you going?" Pertqaluk getting scared that if he stopped her, her parent will find out. So without stopping and looking backward, she start running as fast as she could, while the chief's son is after. On the way, she loses one of her shoes. She doesn't have any time to stop and find it in the dark, so she leave it there and she run. The chief's son couldn't find or see her in the dark. On the way back, he finds the shoes and take it with himself. Pertqaluk return home, take off her clothes and jewelry, and she is sad that she has lost one of her shoes. After that party that night, Pertqaluk came back and start her next day as normal, doing her hard, never-ending chores that her stepmom would give her, and her stepmom usually taking care of her daughter, trying to cover her ugly and smelly so the other people won't notice. But there was one person that the life wasn't normal after that night, and it was the chief's son. After that night, he saw Pertqaluk's face and her beauty. The shoe that he had from that night was in his hand, and he was keep thinking that who was that girl and how can I find her? The days passed on, and the chief's son was getting sick, missing her, didn't know what to do, losing her normal life. So the chief ordered look everywhere in their village and all other villages around, and all the girls must try these shoes and they should not stop until they find the girl from that night. So the girls grab the shoes from the chief's son and they start looking in village after village, house after house, making all the girls, young girls, trying that shoes to see who was that girl, until they came across Pertqaluk's house. Stepmom already knew why they have come, so she put lots of makeup on her daughter, wear her very nice clothes, waiting for the guards to come at their door. The second they entered the yard, she went welcoming them and then asked her daughter to come and try the shoes, whispering at her ear, "If you don't put your feet in that shoes, I will be disappointed at you." So Henaruk grabbed the shoes and tried to put her feet into the shoes, which it was impossible. Her feet was way bigger than the shoes. The mother couldn't bear, and she came to help Henaruk, so she started forcing her feet into the shoes until the guard got mad and took the shoes away and told the stepmom, "Come on lady, this is not how you're forcing into the shoes. This is bone and flesh. It cannot be forced into the shoes. You're hurting your daughter's feet. Where is your other daughter?" Stepmom hearing that, she got scared. She says, no, she wasn't even there that night. She was staying home. I promise you, only this girl came with us. The guard says, it doesn't matter, we have order, every girl must. Pertqaluk, who was inside the house because her mom forced her to stay, when she heard the guard is calling out for her, when the stepmom saw that the guard is not backing off, she told Pertqaluk's father, "Man, you tell them that we didn't took our other daughter to the party that night." The father gets mad and says, "Why are you doing this, woman? Call the girls to come and wear the shoes. Either way, she has to try it out." Then he calls Pertqaluk. The second he calls out, Pertqaluk coming out, and when she wears the shoes, it perfectly matches and fits her feet. God surprisingly watching the shoes and her feet and says, "Yep, it's like these shoes is made for her." And then tell the girl, "How good that we found you, and you are as pretty as the chief's son was explaining to us. We're glad that you are here now." And then ask the father permission that we are going and tell the chief and his son good news that we have found the girl, so they can come and see themselves. Pertqaluk's father, who saw that, was very happy for her daughter and then agreed. In that day afternoon, the chief's son came to Pertqaluk's house. Second that he saw her, He smiled and went forward, respect Pertqaluk's father, and said, yes, your daughter is the girl that I saw that night. And Pertqaluk started telling everything to his dad, that how much she wanted to go, so she went after they left. Then the chief's son, after seeing and talking to Pertqaluk, went to her father and asked for the permission and blessing to send his parent as well. Pertqaluk's father looked at her daughter and asked her, are you happy? Do you love this young man? Pertqaluk smiled and said, yes, father, I do love him as well. The next day, chief and his wife came along and set up the day for the wedding. Stepmom, who witnesses everything and can't do nothing, is very upset, so she is thinking for a new plan. The night before wedding, she sees that Pertqaluk is going to the shed. She goes after her, and there she witnesses all the jewelry, beautiful dresses, and the shoes. So she says nothing. The next day, which is on the wedding day, her stepmom goes and steals all of her stuff and hid it inside the house. Then tell her daughter Hanaruk the plan, the evil plan that she has. So stepmom start telling her evil plan for her daughter, that what she has laid for Pertqaluk on her wedding day. She tells her that tomorrow morning we grab Pertqaluk, we put her in a tandoor. Tandoor is a big hole inside, like they make it inside the house. It's deep, usually 1 meter, and we Kurdish bake breads in it, and after they're done they put the lid on and put a rock over it. That's how they do. So she tells her, we put Pertqaluk in that, and then I gave you all her jewelry, clothes and everything. We put the makeup on you and then cover your face. You say nothing until the chief's son come and they marry you guys together. When they take you to their home and look at your face, and then if they come and tell this is not the girl, I'll tell them, no, you have took my daughter and you have turned them like this. Now you're returning back to us, because they don't want to make their name bad or to be ashamed. They won't say anything, and they are forced to keep you as their bride. Hanaruk, listening to her mom, she is happy, and she kind of like the sound of being in that wealthy family, so she agrees with her mom. On Pertqaluk's wedding day, when a rooster as usual go in the front door waiting for Pertqaluk to give her seed, the rooster sees that stepmom and Hanaruk grabbing Pertqaluk, starting bashing and hitting her, closing her mouth and hand, and then put her in a tandoor and covering the tandoor with the lid, and then put a carpet over it. Then she put a chair on top of there, and then start putting all the jewelries, clothes and everything. Then cover her face with a red scarf that usually is a tradition in Kurdish culture. After a while, the groom's family came along, and his mom asked Pertqaluk's stepmom, why have you covered our bride's face? We want to see her beautiful face. Please take the scarf away. Stepmom quickly says, oh my god, how can you say that? You know how beautiful my daughter is. You have seen it. I'm scared for the bad eyes, that if they see her in her wedding and extra beauty that she's carrying on today, the bad eyes will work on her and she gets sick. Please don't ask me to take her scarf. The groom's mother says, oh, you're right, eyes, that's okay. And the danger passed. The grooms come standing next to her, and it's the time for them to take the bride out of the house to their home. Everything is going on the plan, and Hanaruk is happy. Stepmom is happy. Suddenly Drusta start flapping his wings and screaming, coming around the guest and flapping his wing to their guest clothes and jumping on Hanaruk's face and clothes. The first time the groom slapped Drusta away. Then suddenly Rusta starts to talk and says a sentence that most like a poem, which says, "Oh my God, the people are silly. The stepmom put the beautiful Pertqaluk in the tandoor and the ugly Henaruk on top of the tandoor." Rusta keep repeating this and attacking Henaruk on her face. The stepmom, who realized what the Rusta says, quickly grabbing him by the wings and tell people, "Come on, take this and kill him. He's annoying our guests and ruining our wedding." The groom, who already was suspicious that why my love is not holding my hand, not talking to me, not even letting me to take a peek at her beautiful face, listened to the Rusta carefully. Then he realized what he is saying. He quickly took the scarf out of the Henaruk's face, come to see that totally different person. The groom freaks out and says, "Who are you? Where is my bride?" Then he took the carpet away, take the lid off, and sees his lovely bride being bashed and hit a lot, her bruised face and tight hand and mouth. He was heartbroken, full of anger. He jumped into the tandoor, take his love out, and then very angrily ordered the guard to capture the stepmom and daughter. Then they bring the dad, the father, and tell him everything. In that moment, Pertqaluk's father realized how bad her stepmom was and how evil they did to her. He apologized to her daughter for that he not seen that sooner and led her daughter to suffer that much. Pertqaluk forgave her dad and then asked the groom to not punish stepmom and Henaruk, but let them go and banish them from this village and all the villages that are under their control. So they did that. Groom's mom, which will be Pertqaluk's mother-in-law, and all other women hugged Pertqaluk, took her to the bath and then dressed her as a beautiful bride. The ceremony went bigger than before. Everybody started dancing, singing, and they took her to their castle and she lived a happy life ever after. I am a Kurdish storyteller that planned to tell all the captivating and mesmerizing Kurdish story one by one for you. Also, I am a writer as well, and I tell my own story. I have turned one of my story into a book. The name of the book is The Tears of Mount Sinjar. This story is inspired by a true event that happened in August 2014. A heartbreakingly sad but powerful book to read. The Tears of Mount Sinjar is available in paperback, ebook, and Kindle on Amazon. Until next story، دما و خوش و بردوام بمینن.